Hello everyone, it's Michael again, and today we're going to be dealing with SmartSuite Quick Start to version 3.0. So if you've been upgraded to SmartSuite version 3, we want to make sure that you can get up and running in the shortest possible time. And it's really easy. We've added so much automation that you should have plenty of time to do what librarians do best, and that is research and recommendation and servicing their patrons rather than fighting with a piece of software. So we'll start with borrowing parameters. So if you upgraded your system and you need to check your borrowing parameters, you need to check your data on how many books they can borrow and how many times they can borrow it. In the past, you'd have to go to a number of places to do it. At the moment, it's very quick. So as long as you're logged in, so you should have a sign out button there if you're logged in. Okay, if it says sign in, that means you're not signed in at all. You have to log in. Click on it, put your username and password, and you'll log in. Once you go in there, you'll get the stock standard inquiry screen that'll come up here for you, and that's your menu. I'm going to call that the hamburger menu because it looks like a little hamburger with a bit of sauce spilt on the outside. So click on the hamburger menu and then come down to configuration. And when you come down to configuration, you want to go to the authority editor, and this is where you're going to enter your borrowing parameters. Click on the authority editor, and because it's all alphabetically assigned, you've got audience at the start. But if you click in there, you've got all your different authority files. So if you ever want to experiment and have a look at your authority files, go in there. The beauty about SmartSuite is you cannot damage it, okay? And even if you did find a way to damage it, that's what help is for. We can help you fix it. But the one that we're interested for borrowing parameters is class grade. When you click in here, there are all the different types of borrowers that you've got. A year 7 borrower, a year 8 borrower, a cases borrower, country borrower. So this is where all your borrowing parameters are stored. If you say, well, what happened to my preps? They're not in here. All you need to do is type up prep in here, prep, and then just go add, and there's your prep. Now this is where you put in your borrowing parameters. You just click on the pencil against that particular one, and these are your borrowing parameters. So you do a total of 2 books, and they can loan it for 7 days, and they can renew for once on the web. So you can allow them to renew on the web. They can renew it once, and they can renew it for another 7 days. If you allow them to reserve books on the web, yep, they can reserve 2 books. That's it. Okay, make sure that patrons never have multiple copies. Okay, so you don't want multiple copies ticked. Now what that is for is if the patron happens to leave a book at home and they come and borrow another copy of the same book, because they can borrow 2 books, it will allow them to if you had multiple copies there. So for everybody, it should be off. The only people that you'd put multiple copies for is teachers, because they might want to take 7 copies of the same book and distribute it to the kids in the class. That's what that is. Okay. If it's a staff member, you can say staff member can borrow 500 books, and they can borrow for 300 days. Okay, and they can renew for a further 300 days. Okay, now if they come to borrow a book that's only a 14-day loan, well, 14 days is less than 300, so it'll give it to them for 14 days. But you said 300 days, so you must remember to put that the patron is going to override the book loan limit. Okay, and multiple copies, yep, they can have multiple copies. Okay, and that's it for their borrowing limits. When do you want the books back in the library? I would like the books back in the library on the 8th of January because we close school on the 8th of December. We close school on the 9th of December. The expiry date. The expiry date is really not that important, but it has to be there. A lot of people make the borrowing date and the expiry date the same. I recommend making it the 12th of the 12th and figure out when you're going to be leaving the school. I'm leaving on the 20th of 2050. And then that way you never have to worry about this ever again. You're always only worrying about the final borrowing date. Okay? And you can just go save, and that's it. And that's all there is to borrowing parameters. Okay? You can close out there, and then you can go ahead and work on the next one. Let's go back to the preps. And something we haven't talked about is the security. So everyone by default has a security of 0. What does 0 mean? 0 means that they can borrow anything that has a security of 0. So all your books by default will be 0. But let's say you bought this very expensive atlas and you've only got 3 copies of it. And you only want to loan it out to the years 10, 11, and 12 and nobody else. And the teachers, of course. So if it's 10, 11, and 12, make the security 10. That means they can borrow any material up to a security of 10. Okay? So if the book has a security of 8, they can borrow it. If it has a security of 9, they can borrow it. If it's a security of 10, they can borrow it. If the book has a security of 11 because it's an expensive atlas, they will not be able to borrow it because they are from 10 and down. Okay? So if you wanted your year 12s to be able to borrow it, you'd make it a 12. So now the year 12s can borrow the atlas because the atlas has a security code of 12. That's what that's about. The same would apply to a video. If you wanted them to, or the video to only be able to be seen by year 12s, you'll make it 12. So when they click on the video, if the video security is 12 and the Patron security is 12, they will be able to borrow it. They'll be able to watch it. If the video has a security of 10 and the Patron has a security of 10, yes, they can watch the video. If the Patron has a security of 11, because the video was 10, they'll be able to watch the video. If the video was a security of 10 and it was a year 12 student wanting to look at it, they will be able to look at it because the video, the item has a security of 10 and the Patron has a much higher security rating, so they will be able to do it. So that's what the borrowing parameters are. And remember in the past, when you click saved, then you had to go and update all the patrons. No more. So if I go to a year 8 as an example, and I said my year 8s can borrow 6 books, or actually 7 books, and I hit save. The instant I hit save, every year 8 will get the new parameters instantly. There's no end of day, end of week, end of month. I have to go and click this other button type of thing. Nothing. That's how quick and fast borrowing parameters are. Okay, so when you go into your system, the first thing I would do is when you've upgraded, go to the authority file, click on class grade and check your borrowing parameters. We're now going to deal with cataloging, and we're going to catalog a book that doesn't exist on SKIS, or a poster, or a laptop, or an iPad. So it's anything that does not exist on SKIS. It's called manual cataloging. So be able to catalog anything that's not on SKIS, you go to the catalog button, the menu button, catalog, and then catalog. And this is the default cataloging screen. And what you'll see here is you'll have the basic information, which is basically just the title, the ISBN number, the media type, okay? And then you've got the copy information, you've got the author information, the series, the subject, the illustrators, and so forth and so on, okay? And if you want to add a subject to an existing book, you just go down to the bottom to a blank line and you just type in the new subject. And that's it. You want to add a new subject, you can type in History Egypt If that's the subject you want to type in, if it doesn't exist, it'll tell you it doesn't exist. And what you can do is you can say, oh, it doesn't exist, maybe because the spelling is wrong. So don't go okay. So you can go back there and you can go and choose the correct spelling and then hit the enter key, and it says that doesn't exist in the authority file. You go, yeah, but create it anyway. Okay, and what will happen is when you save it, it'll now create a new entry in the subject authority file. The same applies for the authors, the series, the genres, the additional title, the publishers, and so forth. Okay, and that's the basic information. Now I'm not going to save this record because I want to put in a brand new record. So if you want to put in a brand new record, all your command buttons are on the bottom. So you just go new, and it said, do you want to leave this record? Okay, you can go, no, I don't want to leave it, or you can say, yes, I want to leave it, give you a blank record, and you go in the cat and the dog. That's the name of the title. Okay, and then you can put in the ISBN number in there if you wanted to, and you can put in the edition 1998. Okay, and then I can go to subjects. Subjects is animals. Okay, choose off the list animal behavior, and the next subject is animals again, and it's animal babies, and that's it. And I want to go into a series. You can just go in and put in your series. You can put in your illustrator, you can put in your editor, you can put in whatever you like. You can then go to the copies area, and the copies area, you just go into the barcode and zap in your barcode. Okay, and put in your call number, put in your status which is available, and you can know the location is not that, the location is the assistant principal's office. The sub location we don't have, is just the English department. The loan type, it's a fortnightly loan. The renewal type, and it's no renewal on that item, and that's it. But if you say, yeah, but hang on, I want to put the supplier and I want to put in the cost. If you want to put in any information against the copy other than what's here, you'll have the button over here, and you can go in and you can put in the supplier, the costs, and so forth and so on there. Okay? And if that's all there is to the book, you can say, did I put in an author? Yeah, I didn't put in an author. So you just go SM. And Alistair Smith wrote that book. And now you just go save. One save at the end. If for any reason you did not do something that you should have done, that the system mandatory requires, and it's a media type, in this case, I just go back to my basic and go, media type, yep. And the media type is, it's a CD-ROM. And now I can go save. And that's it. That's how I've created a manual record for my system. Okay, now what I want you to do is I want to show you another way of doing a manual cataloging entry. So I'm going to pinch this particular ISBN number, and I'm going to pretend like I don't have that record on the system. And so I've come into new, it's giving me a brand new screen. I can put in the title and do exactly as I did before, or alternatively I can just go and zap in my ISBN number. When I enter my ISBN number, I can go to the end. When I click on that button, it's a wonderful button. When you click on it, it'll check to see if it exists on SCIS. If it does, it'll tell you, and there you go. It's all imported. If you have a look at the copy, the authors, that's the authors. If there is a series, there's no series. If there are any subjects, those are the subjects. If there's illustrator, no illustrator. Is there an editor? No editor. Is there any notes? No. And what about genres? No, they've got no genres. Is there a publisher? Yep, there is a publisher. So it will import all the information in there, and all you need to do is you just go down there and say it's an ebook. Okay, and then just go save, and you go, yep, I forgot to put the copy information. Just go to copy, just go into the barcode, zap in the barcode that you want for that book, and copy status is available. The location is in the A2 staff room, the sub location is not applicable, and it's a fortnightly loan, and it's a fortnightly renewal, And now I'll just go save. So there's two ways to manually catalog. Put in all the information yourself, or put in the ISBN number and click that little magic button on the end, and it will import it from SKIS if it already exists. And it'll also automatically go and bring the cover in for you as well on the fly. Okay, so that's manual cataloging. Now, if you turn around and say, all right, what else I want to do, because I've just put in an ISBN number, I'd like to put in all the asset details. So if you go to the copy of an existing record, there's all my barcodes. All you need to go is go to the individual copy. So I've got too many copies here. It makes the screen look too cluttered. So let's say I've got 3 iPads that I've put in there, and those are my 3 iPad barcodes, so I can borrow them out. But if I expand that one little barcode, the top one, I can say it's an asset. So you can click on the asset and you can fill in all your asset details that you want. Okay. And let's say you've got the asset there, you've had it for about 2 months, it's broken, you send it out to maintenance and the maintenance sends it back to you. It's all been repaired, they're giving you a bill for $250, and you want to put all the information about what was done on it. So you just click on the maintenance button and you put in all the information about the maintenance in this area, the maintenance date and what it costs you, and you save it. So every individual holding record you can put in the asset details and all the maintenance details going forward. So if you have a big monster of a photocopier that's constantly breaking down, why not put a barcode on it? Why not put in the asset register? Why not put in the maintenance? So every time maintenance done on it, so you have a maintenance history of it. So the cataloging system on the V3 allows you to do all that, and it also allows you to manage your kits. So what you can do is you can put in the catalog the bucket of the books if it's a kit, and then what happens is you can enter all the barcodes of all the books that belong in this one kit. You can just zap them in there. So you got 30 books, go zap, 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 zap in that field, and what that will do, it will create a catalog record for the box and a catalog record for all the individual items. You have to obviously catalog the individual items first and then allocate them and manage them and put them into the kit. The advantage of doing it that way is when you circulate, up will pop a button that says, here's all the books that belong in this kit. Are you sure you're checking them all out? And you go, yes, so you can only check out the ones you want, and the same will apply when you return it. If you check in the barcode of the box, it'll say you should have all these bits in the box. So it could be a camera kit, it could be a laptop kit, which has a charger, it has a mouse, it has a whole bunch of other bits and pieces to it. So you can catalog all of them individually and put them as kits. Okay. If that item is lost, you can just flag lost. We have a better way of doing it, but you can flag that as lost. I'm not going to do that because I'm going to talk about loss in a minute. Okay, so that's how that would work. Now, the SKIS cataloging. So if you SKIS catalog, you go to the menu, you go to catalog, you go to global catalog. Okay, and before you do any kind of cataloging, I would strongly recommend that you come down here and you click on the up button, not the configuration button, on that little up button, and you go my default spine labels. And what will happen is it'll be blank. It'll say, please choose a spine label. Okay, so you need to go down here, and if you run any of these labels, and it might even encourage you to say, you know what, I'm going to get rid of my existing spine labels because I'm going to go with one of these because it's already programmed and it's going to do a whole bunch of wonderful things for me and cut down on all the messing around I have to do with trying to format them. If you choose any of these, they will always work. Okay, so I'll choose 12601, and then you have to hit save. Okay, and then what happens is you have to refresh the page. So the way you do it is you click on here, go back into catalog and go back into global catalog. Okay, and all those parameters are saved. Now, what you can do, if you're going to catalog 10 books and they're all fiction, you say that that's a book, that's a location, that's the sublocation, that's the loan period, that's a renewal period, that's a cost center, and these books are all bought from JB Supplies, and the cost was $65. Then you just go ISBN barcode, ISBN barcode, ISBN barcode, and that's all you do. And what will happen is those books will automatically get cataloged with all this holding information. So here we go, ISBN number, and here we go, barcode that I've made up, and then ISBN number, and then barcode that I've made up, and the next ISBN number, and then the barcode that I've made up. And then I'm going to make up an ISBN number that doesn't exist so that I can show you what will happen if it doesn't exist. If the book does not exist, you will get an error that says red. It does not exist on SKIS. And you just pull it out and manually catalog it. Now these parameters, you can say, oh, so I can just put all this information in before I catalog it. Absolutely. And that makes it very easy. And because you've already set up your spine labels and told the system what spine label it is, and you did it when you first were installed, you don't have to go in and do anything else. You just go print. And when you click on print, what the system's going to do is it's going to go and it will load up the catalog records into the spine label template, and it will format it for you. And all you need to do is then print the report. The spine label will come up over here, and then you will just go print. And that's all there is to cataloging using a spine label. Very simple, very easy. You don't have to go in and then manually print spine labels. However, if you wanted to manually print spine labels, all you do is you click on the barcode, you click on reports, you click on reports, and you go, because I didn't catalog them, these books I had to recover, so I need new spine labels. So if you need new spine labels, in the reports menu, you got reports created by FSI, and you've got reports that you have altered. Doesn't matter which one you go to. I'll go to spine labels, and I'll go to, that's the brand of spine labels I'm running, and I'll go open, and it says, give me the barcodes of the books. So you zap in all your barcodes of your book, and then you go generate. And if you want to start at the 15th label, you go leave 14 blanks or leave 10 blanks. You tell how many blanks to leave and go generate, and all your spine labels will print out. So printing out spine labels is really easy. Okay. Now we're going to go into patrons. I need to add a patron. Menu, patron, patron management. Whenever you go into patron management, you are going to be given the, so if I'm logged in as Lib, it'll bring up my record. If I'm logged in as Tina, it'll be Tina's record. But you go, I just want to add a patron. So you just go new, and you'll say, that's my patron barcode. My name is Mike. My surname is Donivan. And you can put in the email address if you want to. You can say my class grade is year 12, or my class grade is a teacher or a staff member. Okay, so it's a staff, and my homeroom is also staff. I'll put S, so just zoom straight in. Okay, and now I'll go save. And if you look at the basic screen, it gives the basic information. The advanced screen, can the patron borrow? Yes, they can. Please remember, you need to put that they can borrow, and now go save, and now that patron can borrow. Okay, now back on the login screen, if you want this particular staff member to be able to have TV for Education access, if you're a TV for Education user as well, you don't have to ring us and tell us and then get us to do it. You can say, I'm going to go into the role. So you'll click on the role, and you'll say, I'm going to give this teacher the role of a teacher. Okay, so there's a teacher, and I'll get rid of the student. So that's a teacher role. And now what will happen is when I save, if I had an email address in here, that teacher will get a welcome letter from TV for Education. Okay, now you might want to consider giving them passwords. So if you want to give them a password, click on password and say, this is the password. And you might have a policy that the stock standard password is password, PASSWORD, and confirm it, PASSWORD. Okay, and go change password. Okay, and then what you would do is you will say change password on next login. You say yes, and now you'll go save. Now what's going to happen is you can say to the student or the teacher, I've created you, use your email address to log in. So you can give them an email address to log in, use your barcode to log in, or use a username. What username can you give them? You can give them any username. My recommendation is, how about first name dot second name? Okay, so that's a nice, so you can say, look, you can, if you can't remember your barcode, then put in your first name, full stop, surname, and that will log you in. And if you can't remember that, if you've given them an email or imported the email, say just use your normal email to log in. So they can log in with their email, their username, or their barcode. And then you just go save. And that's all there is to cataloging, to adding a patron. Okay? Now, before we go any further, I want to go back to catalog, and someone just rang in and said, do we have to catalog with the basic information, then the copy, then the author, then the series and subject? Because the way I do it, I put in the basic information, then I put in the author, then I put in the subjects, then I put in the illustrator, then I put in the series, and then last of all I put in the genre and then the copy. Can't I change that? Absolutely. You can change that order any which way you like. You just click on the change button up here, which is a little cog. Okay, and I can say I don't want copies here. So you click on the copy hand and you drag it to wherever you want to get rid of it. Just put it down there. And the author, then I want subject next to the author. So I'll click on subject and move it up there. So I've got basic, then I've got author, subject, series, then illustrator. I said, no, I want the illustrator after the author. So you can click on illustrator, drag it down, and that's it. That's the way I want it. So you just save that, and now that's how you catalog. Okay, so you just tab across and you do that. But if you say, I used to love the way it went down the screen, you know, I never had to click, I just want to scroll. So if you want to do that, there's your scroll button. Click on that menu up here on the right hand side, and now your information is this way. So we've given you the best of both worlds, and you choose the way you want to work. That's entirely up to you. Okay, so we've done borrowing parameters, we've done catalog manual, catalog skis, we've done spine labels, we've done patron, and before we go to circulation, we're going to do overdues. In other words, reports. And I'd encourage you to get into the reports. It is very powerful and very simple. So all you do is you click on menu, you go to reports, and in reports, you go down to overdues by classification. Yes. Click on classification and then go open. And then class grade equal to, click in the class grade, there are all the class grades. I want a year 7 class grade report, and I want a year 12 class grade report. Click outside there, you can see 7 and 12. If that's all you want, just go generate. And that's the template of what it looked like, but the results will look like that. Okay, nice beautiful report. You can print it and you can email it. You can email any report. Say, I'm going to email this to the year 12 teacher who also teaches year 7. So you just click on email and then specified. So you go, this is the email address at edu.au. Okay, that's the email address, and the schedule is hi Jack, please chase these for me. Okay, and then you just go send now, but it'll come to Jack as a no reply email. He won't be able to reply. If you put your email address in there, what will then happen is Jack can hit reply and it'll get all the responses back to you. Okay, now if you want to send this kind of report to Jack every Monday morning, guess what? You can schedule it, and all you do is you just say weekly, and on the let's go to June, on the Monday at 8 o'clock in the morning, schedule this. So Jack's going to get overdues for the year 7 and 12s every Monday morning at 8 o'clock. You don't have to worry about it anymore. And if he keeps complaining about the schedule, he's getting all these emails, you can just go disable and that'll stop the schedule. Okay, so that's really easy. The last thing we're going to do is circulation. Circulation's changed beautifully. So you just click on here, you go to circulation, and it's the same as before, where patron barcode, then item, next patron barcode, item, next patron barcode. You want to return books, just click on return. And then you zap in all the books you're returning. You want to borrow again, go to loan. And I'll just go on S, okay? And here are all my S patrons, and I'll go Andrew Smith. If there's any reasons, it'll tell you, you can go, okay, override. And he's got a loan book and he's got a book. The reason why it's brown and not red is because that particular book was a claimed return. So claimed returns are in brown. So if I'm going to go and borrow that book, okay, if there's any reason why you shouldn't, you can override, but it'll borrow the book for you. So the next book I'm going to borrow is this one, and again, there's an issue with that book, and I'll go, yep, override it. Next one is this one, okay, and these are all books that are have warnings on them. So the next one is this book, okay, and the next book is this book. 66 is my barcode, okay, it's out on loan to John Smith. The next book is 88 barcode, and there was no issues with that, so it went out. The next book is a 99 barcode. The next one is a 000 barcode, okay. So this one's on loan. We're not going to do that. So okay, so there's all the loans. Now I'm going to make all these books overdue because I want to show you how to change the due date of a book. So I can see it says it's due on these dates. Now I deliberately want to make them overdue. Okay, so if I put a tick up there, it'll put a tick in all those books. So I want to make sure that I'll get rid of these two. So these are overdue, they're not. So if I want to make them overdue, I just put a date in there, and I can choose the date off here, okay, and then just go renew. And it gives you a reason. Some items are reserved, doesn't matter, renew them, okay, and there they go. So any books that are in red are overdue. Any books that are in blue or white is normal loans. Any book that's brown, it's a claimed return. Okay, so if I call a patron up and I get this screen and I say, hang on, Andrew, you've got all these books. You know, Cat's Eye is a good example. You've got that overdue, and you can tell them when it's overdue, and it's overdue by 81 days. And you can say, but I returned it. So if he says he returned it and you want to accept that, put a tick in there and just go claimed return. Okay, and you can say, he said he returned it, but we don't believe him. Okay, and just go okay, and claim return process is done. And what happened? That's how it became brown. Now if someone returned it or a stock take was done, it'll do whatever it needs to do and take it off the loans or whatever. Now every time he borrows a book, so let's go and say this one, Matthew Flinders' Cat. You go, no, you got Matthew Flinders' Cat as well. He goes, yeah, I'm sorry, I left that on the bus. So you can just click on the book that's there and just go lost. Okay, and it says the item has now been flagged as lost, and it comes off his loan. Okay, so overdues don't claim returns don't come off their loans, but if he says he's lost it, you can just flag them as lost. Okay, now if he turn around and say you've got some overdues, I'm not allowing you to borrow anymore, and he says, can you send me a list of it? You go, sure. So down here, if you click on overdue items, click on that little barcode, it'll run the overdues for you for this one particular patron. That's what it's going to look like. And if he wants it as an email, you just click on email, put in his email address here, and just go send. That's all you need to do. The subject might just be overdues if that's all you want to do. Okay, but you can go back to circulation. So if you want to go and return books, just go return. Okay, and return, and you can start returning books there. Loans, that's the loans on the system. Now, the last thing is, if you want to return just this book and this book, not return, renew, you just tick the books you want to renew, and if you click return, renew, it will renew to the normal renewal period. But if you don't want the normal renew period, you can put a date, specify any date going forward or going back, and when you hit that button, it's going to do the renew. So we spent 30 minutes going through borrowing parameters, cataloging manually, SKISS cataloging, spine label, Patron, circulation, and overdues. Thank you very much for allowing us to present SmartSuite for first-time users.